Hey everyone, my name is JD. Welcome to my channel. I retired from corporate at 27 and my goal is to help you guys live free. What do I mean by that? It's to help you find your passion, find ways to make some money so that you can start doing whatever you want with your day and live a life that has purpose. I'm really into finance, fitness, and real estate. You'll see that here and enjoy. Welcome back to my channel, and on today's episode we are going to talk about Airbnb. A lot of people have been asking me lately what first steps to take, what they should be looking for, and I just wanted to make a quick video on what it takes to get started with Airbnb, some strategies and solutions you can do with little cash. There's no such thing as no cash, and then some other higher level strategies that may take a little more cash but are still a lot more rewarding nonetheless. Big reason being that Airbnb has a decent amount of cash flow, and that comes with the risk and the effort that goes into it. So I do want to highlight that for you guys towards the end of this video, all the effort. But without further ado, let's get into some strategies on how you can make some more money with Airbnb. All right, let's start with some methods that don't require a whole lot of cash. Now, there's two scenarios that you could be in. Right now, you could be renting where you live or you could be owning. What I started out doing was, in the first house that I owned, I started renting out the spare bedrooms on Airbnb. That's how I got my first hosting experience. It was kind of like dipping my toe into the water because I was there for any guest needs. I was doing all the communication. It was only one or two people coming at a time, nothing too crazy, nothing I couldn't handle. I was doing the cleaning myself. That's the easiest way to get started, and it's not a whole lot of cost up front. You definitely want to make sure your photos look good. Photos are not somewhere to skimp. And you also want to make sure that your listing is done right. I mean, the marketing is really big, but all in all, you really just have to furnish your extra room. And from there, you can start getting some experience on Airbnb. Now, if you're renting right now, it may be a little tougher to get away with. I don't recommend not telling your landlord that you are doing this. That could cause you a lot more headache than it's worth in profitability. So if you are renting right now, I would kind of weigh the pros and cons of that. Make sure you're upfront with your landlord. But if you're owning right now and you have some spare room, it's definitely a good way to get started and dip your toe into the water. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. Let's talk about the arbitrage strategy. So arbitrage simply means that you're going to try to rent someone else's place out because you think it'll do well on Airbnb and you think you can make more money on Airbnb than you could renting it long-term, which you would be renting it long-term. You'd be paying a certain amount a month. Let's say your lease is $2,000 a month. The arbitrage is going to be trying to make $3,000 a month on that $2,000 a month unit and keeping the extra $1,000. Now, this may be not a very popular answer, but I hate the arbitrage model. It's definitely rewarding if you want to put the work in, but to me, it's not totally passive income. You're gonna have to work kind of a second job in managing the Airbnb. And even if you automate that system, you are missing out on equity. You have to deal with a third party, and that's my biggest gripe with it is if you're the homeowner and you're Airbnb-ing a place, you have the advantage of not having to deal with someone else when it comes to having to make repairs. Whereas if you're arbitraging, you're at the mercy of when the landlord wants to make repairs, and if they don't want to, then you're out of luck. But you could just pay for them yourself, and at the end of the day, that's not going to be as advantageous as owning and being able to call the shots. But again, when you own, you're gonna have to put a whole lot more money down. So there's definitely pros to getting into arbitrage in the sense that you can scale a lot faster. It's just a lot more sweat equity, a lot more effort, a lot more contractual things to play around. But all in all, it is a strategy you could use if you're trying to not put a whole lot of money down. You can negotiate well with the leases and really just have to put up a couple months rent to get in and furnish a place. If you do it right, you might be able to snag some of the rent down and just have to end up putting some furniture in. So that's another option for you. But we're about to get into my favorites, which is going to be the ownership model and the different financing behind it. So time to talk about my favorite way to get involved with Airbnb, and that's owning the property. And despite popular belief, it does not take a whole lot of cash. I know that term's relative, but you can get into a house for as low as 3 to even 5% down. And what that means is if you're looking at a nice property, it doesn't have to be anything too immaculate. You could be looking at something for $250,000, $300,000. And at 3% down, you're looking to get in around $10,000. Which, yeah, okay, you think that sounds bad. But if you're gonna arbitrage and the place is $2,000 you're trying to arbitrage, you're gonna be paying first-class security, that's $6,000 versus owning it for 10. Come on. Way better move, because then you're earning principal over time, you're capturing some appreciation, and you just have a whole lot less friction when it comes to making repairs, to making decisions on everything that goes into it. It's just a more stable investment in my opinion. Now, the financing, one part of it is that down payment. And it's not like you can just magically wake up with $100,000 and then use that for 10 different down payments at $10,000. The thing is, there's gonna be a limit on your debt to income ratio. And what that means is how much debt you have versus how much income you have. And you're gonna have to have the right job to qualify for the right amount of funding. So the general rule of thumb, at least in Philadelphia, when there tends to be tax abatements, if you have relatively low debt now, you're looking at your first house, you're trying to get that 3 to 5%, you're probably gonna be able to spend about 6 times your salary. Which means for someone with a $50,000 job, you're gonna be able to buy something that's maybe $300,000. And that's enough to get you started with something that's brand new, renovated, looks ready to go. You're gonna be able, from closing day, to just furnish it and start getting renters right away. Really cool. The other option that you can pursue, and I've seen done, is you might not have a whole lot of cash. Maybe you do have a good job, but you're not trying to spend the cash. Regardless of the scenario, a lot of people out there, thanks to biggerpockets.com, are fans of the Burr Method. And that's where you buy something, you renovate it, and then you refinance it, and then you rent it. A lot of times what that means is you're able to borrow hard money, get in with no cash of your own, use someone else's money to make the transaction happen, to do the rehab, then you refinance at the end to pay them back, and then you end up in the deal with little to no cash out of your pocket. Well, I'm gonna coin the term Airbnb, which means you buy it, you rehab it, you refinance it, and then you Airbnb it. So you find a fixer-upper, you end up getting this process done with hard money, and from there you're gonna be able to rent it on Airbnb. That's probably the best low cash strategy for getting an Airbnb. Refinancing might be tricky for you, depending on how the lender wants to take the refinance and the Airbnb income. So for now, I've been sticking with just regular traditional purchases, but the problem is once you have your first investments out of the way and you can't do those 3 to 5% downs anymore, or maybe you've already done one recently and you're trying to grow really fast and scale, but you can't go in with a primary loan, you're gonna have to put 15% down. And 15% down is quite a difference between 3 to 5%. So at 15% down on a house that'll do well, at least in Philadelphia area, you're probably looking at $300,000 to $400,000 minimum to get in. I've actually gotten one in the past that was $200,000 that works well for Airbnb. 15% down plus closing costs plus furniture. All in, I was looking at almost $60,000 for that. Now, at some point, $60,000 is not going to be the end of the world. You'll be able to scale up and stack enough cash to get that to happen routinely. But for now, you're probably watching this video because you're itching to get started with Airbnb. So to anyone out there who's itching to get started, to recap, there's 2 things that you're going to look for. 1, start with where you're at, rent out what you got extra. That way you just have to furnish something, an extra room in your house, get some experience, and then from there, try to buy with the 3 to 5% down. Alternatively, you have a good paying job and you don't want to use any of your cash, you can try the Airbnb method. If you have any questions about these methods, you want to hit me up, your wheels are turning, you have some places you think might work out well for this strategy, feel free to shoot them over to me. But The rule of thumb is if you're gonna shoot me anything over, if you're gonna ask me about Airbnb, you have to subscribe to my channel, you have to like this video, or I'm probably not gonna answer you. It's a trade. It's a trade we're gonna have to make. I mean, come on. I just gave you a lot of tips. So hit that subscribe button, come check it out, let me know what you got, and stay tuned for some more info on Airbnb.